We're going to open the sacred space together. Allow yourself to drop into the stillness, closing your eyes, and turn inward. Turn your gaze inward. Allow the tip of your tailbone to sink down. Surrender to the gravity of Mother Earth. And breathe. Relax your shoulders. Relax your back. Relax your chest. Relax your jaw. Relax your forehead. Open your heart. Let the light in, and let the light of your soul to rise from within. Let the light cascading down above you to go down and shower down upon the crown of your head. Let it enter through the center of your head, all the way down to the tip of your tailbone. And at the same time, notice your soul rising from the depth of your center to meet the light in a great celebration. The soul rising. The soul rising all the way up into the heart. Continue to breathe. See if you can breathe deeper into your belly. Notice your breath. Deepen your breath. Deepen it even further. With every breath that you deepen into the belly and out, see if you can deepen your breath as you inhale. Stretch open your sacrum. Stretch open, releasing the joints in your pelvic bowl. Hold that breath just for a moment there. And exhale all the way out through your thighs and out of your feet. Revel in the stillness. Become one with this vortex. Open your heart. Become one with the infinite field of potential. Drop the mind further, deeper into the ocean of stillness. Sense the limitlessness of the ocean space. You are free to go anywhere. You are free to create anything here. And what does it feel like to trust yourself fully? Feel into it. Really feel it. Let yourself go there. Become one with it. Open your heart to receive it. Connect with it. You are one with the divine. Breathe that in. Breathe your divine light in. You are a child of the universe, a child of the cosmos. Limitless being. Wholeness expressed through your divinity and your humanness, not either or. Instead, human and divine. Now stay with this feeling. We're going to take a moment to draw out the lack of self-trust, draw it out through your body without giving it a name. Just feel where it is that you're sensing it in your body. Lack of self-trust. What does it feel like in your body? Where is it that you're feeling it? Once you have identified it, go there with your breath of light. Breathe into that part of your body. And as you exhale, exhale your highest light, your highest frequency, all the way into that area in your body. Love into it. Be fully present to it, without judging it, without giving it a name, without asking why you're there, without thinking how long it's been there. All of it is energy. So go to that area in your body that you're feeling the charge when you think of lack of self-trust. And breathe your light. Become the light. Pure consciousness. Breathe. And with every exhale, let the light grow even more. So much so that this light, radiating with love, unconditional love and grace, is dismantling all the little chains that bind you, all the little chains that create this huge illusion that you are not able to trust yourself, creating fear of failure, creating more illusions upon illusions, when truly you cannot fail. You cannot make a mistake. When you work from the divine within you, when you move as the soul, you cannot make a mistake. You cannot fail. Recognize this. Feel into it. Remember it. Breathe. One last time, breathe into that area. Hold that breath. Hold it. One more breath. Bring it into the core of your body, into the central channel in your belly. And you're going to breathe it out through the crown of your head. Slowly now, gently, come back to your body. Open your eyes to gaze outward. With new eyes, new energy, and let your reality reflect that back to you. For you are the creator of your life. You have always been. Feel free to drop your comments and share with me how you're feeling, what you saw, what you felt. The more you're able and willing to communicate, the more we are able to set the trajectory of this transmission and be supportive of what you are going through right now. Okay? Aurelia, thank you. Okay, so as I was saying at the beginning, I have a fever, so we will see how far my energy can take me. As I work with the cosmos, right now I do feel quite alright. Usually when I'm not, I'm literally like lying down most of the time. So we will see. And also it's interesting because part of me was thinking, you know, I probably should cancel this live session because what if my voice is, you know, like that, and what if I cough, and what if I feel tired, and what if I'm not like up to par. But I really felt called to show up here anyway because there is something real about this, you know. And I also feel like sometimes when you have a fever, and honestly this is like my cellular upgrade, it happens all the time. When I go to a retreat, which I did in Switzerland last week, and then I come back with some kind of fever. So I know that this is for the highest good, and thank you so much, Angus. Thank you. So let's see where this is going to lead us. Aurelia is saying, I felt the suppression leaving my body. That is so incredible. Oh my goodness. So let's talk a little bit about self-trust, shall we? What does self-trust look like for you? I'm just gonna have some music in the background so we can have yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So it's interesting when I was tapping into this space, I really want to, okay, let's take a moment here. Angus is saying surrender. Melissa, yes, sometimes we do have to push ourselves to be our best, even when we aren't sure. I'm glad you are here. Wow. You see, that is so interesting because I don't feel like I have been pushing myself, but rather it's more like a soul calling to be here and to be okay to show up like this. You know, there has been a time in my life where, yeah, definitely I would push myself, and I see it like, you know, if I push myself, then, you know, I'll be applauded or I'll be validated, but it really isn't that. It really is a soul calling, and maybe halfway through I will feel like, okay, I'm done, then I'll just wrap up, you know. There's no pressure to be anything, so there's no pushing or forcing. And I really stand by that, because I think so much of the old paradigm ask of us to do that. And one of the biggest things that it really drives me to do this work, to share this work, is that we are here as women that are building, literally with every action we make, to leave a legacy that is different from what we have known. Yeah? Melissa, yes, pushing yourself can be in ways hard to detect from the outside. The soul calling is a divine support to help us grow and realize our abilities. Yeah. say, I feel clueless when I surrender and give up on my hope. What do you say? What do you mean when I surrender and give up on my hope? Let me know. Okay. Trusting ourselves, firstly, is easier when we have circumstantial power. What circumstantial power means is that we might have a certain status, a certain physical circumstance that allows us to solidify the fact that I can trust myself, right? For example, if you were an entrepreneur and you knew already that someone is going to buy your product, you have circumstantial power because you already know that it will work. You already know that money is going to come in, you're going to be able to have resources to build that business, and so on and so forth, right? But what really tides us over is personal power. And this personal power is illuminated in us through our divine connection. And the interesting thing about divine connection, and tell me in the comments if this is you, but a lot of us only start to turn inward, to turn to God, to turn to the infinite, to turn to the universe when we are going through something that is beyond the mind, beyond the logic, beyond what we can see. In the unknown, in the uncertainty, we suddenly feel that I do need to turn and rely upon something bigger than my circumstance, because I can't see anything in my circumstance right now that can support my calling, my purpose, my knowing. There's something in me that's stirring, and yet nothing in my circumstance is showing up for me, right? And this is where it is going to be so interesting, because this is the journey that begins to open up the gateway to the great mystery, our connection with the divine feminine, our connection with the cosmos that is still unfolding. Yeah, they call it the Big Bang, right? The cosmos is still unfolding, just as we are. The cosmos is still expanding, just as we are. And I think because we have arrived at a time when we are very beset in a materialistic society, and there is almost this falling away of connection with divinity, the divinity that is not sitting up there in heaven. I'm talking about divinity that exists in everything, that animates everything and everyone. No matter how a person reacts, no matter how a person looks like, no matter if you feel like they're poorer or richer, they have a sense of the divine expression moving through them, whether they are conscious of it or not. And my hope, or rather my intention, I don't hope, I intend. My intention is that you can recognize and really truly remember all the divine parts of who you really are. And what we call conflict between the human and the divine, between the seen and the unseen, this conflict, quote unquote, it truly is part of the process of moving us into wholeness. We cannot discard or neglect either one. Yeah? Alright, taking a pause to read. Sai saying, by surrender, I mean I do my best and let Cosmo take its time. So Sai, this is so interesting because when you enter through the eye of the needle and you become one with the cosmos, you are beyond time. You are beyond space. It's already in the field. It's already there. Otherwise, you won't be able to sense it. You won't be able to feel it. My advice to you is to let go of the need for it to take time. Let go of pushing yourself and let go of needing it to look a certain way. The important thing here is to be so clear that you are clear, that you know with certainty that it already exists in the field. Otherwise, you wouldn't sense it. You wouldn't even want it. And when we return to oneness in this field, you are interconnected with everything that exists in the field. The more you're able to bring yourself deeper into oneness, the more you realize that you're not lacking anything. And I think this is where self-trust really anchors in, because when we are working from lack, then we have to push, we have to compete, we have to compare, we have to chase, we have to control, we have to look at time, we have to take lots of steps, right? But if you already know you are whole, you are wholeness, you are the divine, you don't chase, you don't control. You know that everyone gets a piece of the pie, let's put it that way. It's a truth that resonates through your entire bones. You know that you're going to live the life you want, or even better, because the unknown is the unknown because you can't even canvas it. You can't even expect how good it looks like. But the key is you have to connect with it through the elevated feeling of having it. And then surrender. That is what the surrender means. Surrender doesn't mean, oh my God, I hope, I'm just going to sit here and I hope. No, surrender means you already know it's complete. And then you let it go. You continue to become aware as pure consciousness of all the opportunities that are cropping up. And then you go. Each step without fear, because you already know this or better is going to come. You've got to act on it. And oftentimes, the bigger the want, the bigger the unknown. And it requires you to move with courage. It requires you to move with unwavering faith. Yeah. Thank you, Aurelia. Melissa. I pretty much had tried all my humanly ability to turn my life around before I asked God for help. and I guess I was ready because my life went to shambles. Yes, I can totally relate with that, Melissa. I see it differently in regards to the people connection with the divine. I believe more are turning willingly now. Yes. I feel that we are in a prime time where a lot of us are feeling the movement, the return of the divine, the return of this spirit, especially through Mother Earth, which as always we call divine feminine. And the energy, the spirit of the divine feminine had to really go into hiding for a long time. And I'm not here to say, whose fault it is and all of that. I believe that everything was building up to where we are coming towards. And it's truly up to us how we desire to live our lives. The new world, the new earth, whatever you desire to call it, it's not going to be built by something else or someone else. We are literally the new ancestors. We are the new ancestors. This is our legacy. And I see a future that we are literally living now. It's the memory of the future where women fully embrace their multidimensionality. And I speak about women because that is my work. I work with women. But as men as well, men are really waking up in such a beautiful way as well. But within the context of multidimensional women, when we can be the relaxed and divine-led, God-led, spirit-led woman, when we can dance in ceremony, when we can love our body and bless our body, when we can finally release ourselves from the constriction of judgment or societal standards, we can finally be free to ask ourselves, what is my truth? Who am I really? And then you set your standard from there. Your energetic standard is the beginning of everything you are creating in your reality, including the things you think you did not create. You created all of the things. And sometimes it's a really difficult thing to hear. It really is. But the more you are aware, the more, just like Melissa was saying, her life had to fall apart. I can relate something that really profoundly happened to me as well in mid-2023. I have my business. I was doing amazing soul work. And then I took a trip to Skye in Scotland. I'm based in Edinburgh, so we took a train, and then we went up to Skye, and we were walking in the fairy pools. And I heard distinctly this beautiful voice singing through me, saying, "The divine desires to live through you." I felt immense bliss. My entire body was filled with light. The day itself was also filled with light. It was supposed to be a rainy day, but the sun was shining down on us. And on that day, everything felt so powerful, so godly. And then the next day and the subsequent months that follow, my life began to fall apart. All the things that my ego thought was important it continued to spiral open until I was left with literally my soul. And you know what? Clients were falling away, my income dwindled. But the most incredible thing was that I felt so close to God. I felt so close to God that I never really questioned. Of course, my human was terrified, but what I built up through that experience was that I knew I was supported no matter what. Towards December, that was in July, I think. So in December, I found myself in the Shaolin temples, and during one of the meditations, I found myself breaking open and confronting my deepest fears of death. Death, which is the death of ego, the death of my physical body, the death of my loved ones. And I knew that I have released something really, 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 really heavy. And I returned home with a new essence, a knowing that I am here to guide women to connect with her divinity. Not because it's a cool thing, not because you need to manifest something, but truly because you are here to live a divine-led way, a life of ceremony. Oh, Aurelia, my IG handle, you mean? You can drop into my bio on here, and you can see it in the link tree. You should be able to see it. Let me know if you can see it or not. Otherwise, just drop me a DM and I'll be happy to send it to you. Because I think you can't really put any links in the comment section. They would actually just censor it. So, Melissa, yeah, I feel he wants me to go this way. I was in terrible condition when I asked for help, and he knew what I needed. So, here's the thing. When we talk about self-trust, it literally is like the first layer that we're peeling away. Because if you know, if you build that, you cultivate that connection with the field, with oneness, with the infinite, Tao, God, cosmos, whatever you want to call it, you don't question. You don't question. You work with the unknown. All right, Aurelia. You work with the unknown because that is where you begin to create. And there is something really beautiful that I work with that I love to introduce into all my mentorship spaces. And that is the tea medicine. Tea itself, from ancient origins, is a bearer of the wisdom of the cosmos and earth. Tea medicine that comes from ancient origin, when held with reverence, is the ultimate expression of wholeness. We enter into this beautiful stillness where we can have a really deep dialogue with the truth within you. Now, this is something that you must cultivate, and only you can cultivate. I can lead you to the door, but you have to open it and enter. And tea is a beautiful plant that doesn't force, it doesn't push. It gives you exactly what you're open and ready to receive. And there is something that that really has captivated centuries of sages and monks about tea, because tea contains the frequency of oneness. Tea contains the frequency of the divine. And when we work with tea in such a way, we're tending to what is alive in us. And when I say tea, again, I want to emphasize that these are exquisite, ancient origin tea that comes from, hundreds and thousand-year-old trees. And I wrote this today, by the way, where when you look at the tree, each leaf is individual. Each leaf is individual, but it bears the full expression of the tree. And each tree is an expression of the environment it grew up in. And if you think about it, we're very similar to the leaf. Each one of us is individual. And yet we carry within us the full expression of the divine, the full expression of the infinite. And there is something so exquisite about this, because each leaf is probably taking in different levels of wisdom, different levels of minerals in the sun and the moon and the rain. And it contains all that it absorbs. And then by the time it's in the hands of the artisans who are there to create tea based on how she desires to be expressed, rather than how the human desires to bring her into the world. This is the distinction that makes all of the ceremonies with living tea so exquisite and so profound, because now you're literally taking away the veil, and you're sitting across, or rather you're merging with the cosmos as one. You remember your wholeness, and the ceremony cannot exist without you, without human. Most of the tea that I'm talking about is interesting. Thank you for mentioning that. They are Camellia sinensis tea. So they are from the ancient lands, usually around Laos, Vietnam, China, and Taiwan. Sometimes I work with tea from Japan. Yes, you can probably call them fancy tea, Melissa. But I think the interesting thing when you work with the teas like this is that you start to really honor yourself. You start to remember that you are, abundance is your birthright, that sacred union is your birthright, that freedom is your birthright. It is a sacred plan, exactly. When you start to really let that frequency grow in you and you cultivate that through your practice, and by the way, once you start to cultivate this connection, it unfolds into everything that you're doing. Whether you're washing your dishes or your car, whether you're with your child, whether you're with your husband, your wife, whatever, it is unfolding through you. Something in your frequency just switches. You are literally living the life of ceremony. And tea just takes you there on a fast track, because I honestly, I always say this, is that, I am, I know I'm an incredible spiritual mentor. I know that I am an architect of the imaginal realm. I know that I hold space for the unknown to break through for you. I know that. But I leave space for that deep dialogue And that spaciousness needs to be there, because that spaciousness is for your emergence, your truth to emerge. And so this sacred tea plant creates that space for that. So my tea ceremony activations facilitate that. It allows your masterpiece to arise. And there's no forcing, no telling you like, oh, you have to feel better, whatever that means. Like I'm so real about these things. I'm like, mentorship is not about result. I know you're going to get results. I have no doubt about that. But I'm not bound by time and space. And sometimes a woman has to break down before she emerges, before her light emerges. Sometimes a woman already knows and she is going fast. Sometimes a woman has a lot of self-doubt that she needs to work through. And all of this is part of the alchemy. It's part of the alchemy. And tea has a profound frequency that facilitates that cultivation, that polishing of the mirror. You know, there's this saying in Zen, about the Bodhi tree. And it's about cleaning the mirror so that we can see the Bodhi tree. But ultimately, you and the Bodhi tree are the one and the same. You and the mirror is one and the same. There is no separation really between you and the divine, between you and tea. When you drink tea, tea becomes you, you become tea. All the aspects of tea, which is sacred, harmony, reverence, wholeness, purity, and not to mention, it has been one of the very early medicine that was used to bring the light back into the heart. For anyone who had gone through trauma or deep grief or sadness, or even disconnection from the divine, this plant can help to activate the heart energy again. And that's when they say, the saying is that the light is so powerful that it radiates out of your eyes. That's when you know that spirit has returned to you. Spirit has taken up space again in your home within. You want to build that home within. That is what self-trust is. There's no wavering. And it doesn't mean you can't have human challenges. Of course you will. Every challenge is here to bring you closer to God, to the sacred, to the infinite. And there is so much power when you're able to work with this godly energy, this divine energy, because then you can stay in that energy and continue to expand it. This is where things, synchronicities, opportunities just occur. It's incredible. You connect with someone without any words, it's understood. And this, we go really deep in the ceremony, in the tea ceremony activations in my mentorship. And so there is something really beautiful that I want to share as well with all of you. If this is something that really moves you, can you let me know in the comments? What is your connection with the divine? What can be possible if you moved with that connection? Deep self-trust, unwavering trust. What could possibly happen? Let me know. Taking a pause here. As you know, my voice with the fever, it's just working on its own. So I'm going to take a sip of water. something compels me to also say that when you're working with me, I don't work in a way where I necessarily have to take you into the past to untangle all the knots and the trauma. You had a little glimpse of how I work at the beginning. It is all pure energy. So without the labeling, because any labeling comes from the mind, it comes from the logic. What we want to do is really embrace the mind with our infinite self, our highest self, let's put it that way. We don't discard or disregard the mind, but what we want to start to work and remember is that highest self, that infinite self, the divine that we are. Because if you are caught up in your challenges, if you feel like you're a victim of something, if you feel like you need to control, you need to chase, that you're comparing all the time, and you're looking at others and you're like, oh no, I can't do that, or oh my god, what the hell are they doing? Like all of the things, anything to do with judgment, validation, you're in your mind. And what we want to really do is to lead from the divinity within you. We want to utilize the mind in the correct way that it has always been designed to do. The mind is helping us to move forward, to bring forward our divine expression. Instead, most of the world is driven by the mind. Most of the world believes in the illusions of the mind, the smallness of the mind. The mind likes to focus on what it already knows. It's no fault of the mind. It's what it's been designed to do. It's just that we forgot. We forgot and we think we are the mind. And there's this Western inclination to overextend itself to the point where it thinks it is the mind. And this disconnection from the divinity within us has caused so much pain and suffering. If we only knew, we wouldn't suffer. If we only knew, we wouldn't judge. Everyone is on their own journey. Everyone is sacred. You are sacred. You are just as interconnected in this web of consciousness as I am. Yeah. And by the way, your mind is very useful when it can judge if there's a danger ahead of you. That's what the mind is here to do. But otherwise, come back to your divine essence. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. And this is something that I want to share with you. I'm really excited. We already opened up the space on the 3rd of March, the 339 portal. And we will have our first opening tea ceremony activation on the 12th of March. So there's still a little bit of time to join us. It's a place called Life of Ceremony. It's an online, divine-led, God-led, spirit-led mastermind for 3 months, 3rd of March to 6th of June. And you will receive, I just packaged this up by the way, you will receive this incredible set. It's a sacred gift set and full of tea and an artisan crafted tea bowl and incense. You will have all that you need to get started to create your sacred space, to reconnect you with your divine essence. And we will meet every week to dive deep into the essence of your divinity, to connect you. And we will have ceremonies, we will have activations, we will have Telegram as a place for your Q&A and reflections, and we will have a mentorship call as well, where we can dive into the human aspect as well as the divine aspect of where you are on your journey. And this is fully supported by the great mystery that we are working with, because there is something really beautiful when we are able to connect with the Tao, source, the infinite, and understand how to work with that energy that is within us, that is all around us. How can we activate our personal power and have that be reflected in our circumstantial power? This is the work. No matter what happens in our circumstance, we can find power in it. It is really incredible. It's really incredible, like incredible things like how you would think you don't have the resources to do something, and in the moment you say you really want to do it, the money comes. You have this inclination where you know that, okay, I want to work in a certain industry, I want to collaborate with a certain person, and then boom, you make a move and that person responds. And the next thing you know, you're flying into Milan, you're flying into, all the incredible places. These things happened. And I don't teach from philosophy, I teach from direct experience. And this is the thing as well, before I finish today, is that everything, when we do it in mentorship together, I want you to have a direct experience. I don't want you to carry all the teachings with you and continue thinking you need to gather more and more certificates and gather more and more teachings. Ultimately, what I'm sharing with you is the raft to the shore, to bring all your emotional baggage towards the shore, because these waves of emotions are meant to expand you. They're not meant to hold you back. Only the mind holds you back because it wants to be familiar, it wants to be certain. But when you only rely on certainty, then nothing that is beyond logic can ever happen in your life. And so it is a choice. It truly is a choice. Will you choose yourself knowing that you are supported always? Will you choose yourself in such a way where you allow yourself to have support? Yeah? All right. I feel so activated, even though, like I said, usually I'm like half dead because of my fever. But obviously this work is my passion, and I'm so passionate about my passion. I really want to see you soar, and I would be so honored to fly with you. If Life of Ceremony is for you, you can drop me a DM. I'll be happy to share the link with you. I am so honored. All right. So thank you so much for today. Taking a pause to see if there's any more question, and then I will wrap it up. Yeah. So. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you. Sending all my love to you. I will see some of you inside Life of Ceremony. And if that's not for you, feel free to stay connected with me. Instagram, it's the place. Arena. Well, get ready to be accustomed to it. When you're in my world, you will remember that you are the sacred. There is no separation.